Hello and welcome to another great interview on superyachtradio.com, superyachtsalesnow.com. My name is Walter Schmidt, award-winning author on the book on superyacht sales, and I'm here with Frank McKinney and Oliver Hoyas. Both are artists from US and Switzerland. Now they are in a discussion to talk about things, experiences, the life of Frank McKinney, which is an inspiration for Oliver Hoyas to create his next painting. It is a new way on how to get information to start a creation that comes out of the heart of the artist, inspired by influences from outside, consciously and on purpose. And I wish you on this interview awesome content, awesome information, and a lot of value that you can take for yourself to bring it into your life, to change your life to the better, and to get also some ideas and also inspirations and especially aspirations. And you will see there are also books written by Frank McKinney you should not miss out. Especially for me personally, Aspire is the favorite one. But that's individual, like art. And Oliver, he is the one who creates paintings that you have to see. And eventually, you are attracted by one of that. However, you'll find the contact of both within this interview. Hello, this is Walter Schmidt speaking, award-winning author on the book on superyacht sales. But today, I have a great friend, Frank McKinney, and my second friend from Switzerland, Oliver Hoyas. Both are artists, but they're different. And I brought them together for a very particular reason. It is about a co-creation of an art. And I want to not talk too much about that. I let you both, Frank and also Oliver, that you talk what it is, how it works. It's not my business. I'm out of that, but I love art. And I love both of you, and I'm sure this is going to be a great and amazing conversation with a great output at the end, which will be maybe for some of you a surprise. That's my words, and now I let you both talk about what it is and who you are and what you do. And let's start with Frank.
Walter, thank you so much. And Oliver, I'm honored to be on this with you today. Both of you are coming from Switzerland?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. Wow. So I'm all the way, you can tell, in the hills of North Carolina, the Blue Ridge Mountains of North Carolina. And I think, Walter, you and I met on a stage, or I was doing a presentation back in 2020 or something in California. And we've remained friends. You've helped me with I'm an author of 8 books, and my prior book, Aspire, you helped me sell countless copies of that. So I'm very grateful for that. From the artist perspective, I may look like I sing or I play an instrument, I paint, sculpt, but I do not. I am a 3-dimensional artist, meaning not sculpting, but I build 3-dimensional art on the sun-drenched canvas known as the Atlantic Ocean. So I build beautiful multi-million-dollar homes. I create them, I design them, I take the raw land, which is my canvas, the sand, so to speak, on the ocean, the Atlantic in Palm Beach. I design the home, I build the home from nothing, from the ground up. I design it, build it. My wife puts the furnishings inside of the home, and we sell the home for an average selling price of around $15 million US. We've designed and sold 44 projects over the last 30 years, and sold every single one of them, again, with the average selling price around 15 million. So I always admired people like Oliver. Like I wish that I could paint like he does. And I would, it's not that I wish I could, I don't have that ability. Like I've tried painting, and I just don't have that God-given talent. I can't sing. I've tried singing. I could play an instrument, maybe a piano, but my gift is really building 3-dimensional art that people can live in, Walter and Oliver. You can walk in the door. I mean, it's one thing to have 2-dimensional art like Van Gogh or Renoir or Monet or Oliver. I've seen his artwork. It's stunning. But imagine being able to walk into one of Oliver's paintings and live inside of that painting. It comes to life in 3 dimensions. That's what I've done for 30 years on the ocean in Palm Beach is create three-dimensional art that people live in.
But I should have one of those to live in. That would be awesome, wouldn't it?
That'd be awesome. I would love to sell you one.
I believe you. Maybe one day that happens. Be careful. Will be great. However, that's awesome. Thank you very much for your information and introduction, Frank.
Thank you so much, Walter, for bringing us together. And Frank, I heard a lot about you, and it was so inspiring what you're doing. I love what you said about you create art that people live in. And I was like, wow, this is, I love your thinking. I think it's very inspiring. And so what I'm doing is I am basically, I'm an artist. So I create abstract work. It's very energetic. For me, something that was always important was freedom, and more the freedom to express, right? To be who I am and to really express my individuality. And my gift was always creativity. And at one point I found art, and since 3 years, I'm doing this now full time. And I'm very grateful for that. And now I'm also since last year, I created a new project, which I call the Life Vision Paintings, where I'm basically talking with inspiring people about their dreams, their vision, their goals, and then translate that into colors and symbols and create an amazing artwork out of that, which is then like an anchor that always reminds them on their dreams and where they're going to. Because I think this is so important in life, that you have a direction, that you know where you're going to, and that you have this belief in yourself that it's possible, right? So when you think about your dreams, that you actually feel inspired and that it moves you. And that's also part of my mission as an artist, but also beyond, to inspire people to believe in themselves and their dreams. Because I think that's really where it all starts. And that's the same that I've done in my life with my art, to really, the first thing was I needed to believe in myself and my art, that it's actually possible. And when I did that, then it started working and I could go all in. And now I'm living my dream as an artist. So now I want to inspire others to also, be inspired by their dreams. Yeah. Yeah, Frank, thank you so much for making the time. I'm really excited to hear about your dreams. So basically what I'm doing now is I'm going to ask about your dreams, and about some challenges, if you have some, and if you want to share them. So it's of course up to you what you want to share. And I'm also making some notes, just so I have the key words and, the things that I need to put down, that I have them. And if you're ready, we can start right away.
Let's go. I'm ready. Follow your lead.
Awesome. So before we talk about your dreams, let's talk a bit about the challenges, because they often give us more clarity of what we want or where we're going to. So if something pops into your mind, like a challenge that you have at the moment that you're working on.
Well, it's funny you should say. Just yesterday, March 1st, I don't know when this will air, but on March 1st, I released my 8th book, titled Adversitology. Overcoming adversity when you're hanging on by a thread. And Walter and Oliver, we all experience adversity in our life. And it could be physical adversity, financial adversity, relational adversity, or spiritual adversity. And I had a very serious physical adversity that almost took my life, starting on March 11th, 2020, the day the world was locked down with COVID. And I was locked up in a hospital for a while, and then released to my house. And going through an adversity that almost took my life, I decided to write a book that would help others. I can't help you avoid these, conflicts, these adversities, these challenges, but perhaps I can help you get through them a little quicker and with far less pain. So, it's really, it wasn't until I was healthy. I kept this secret about my diagnosis, which was basically a death sentence I was given by my doctor. I kept it a secret for 2 years. I didn't tell a soul for 2 years. And then I started writing the book. Only 5 people knew about my condition. What that did, at the beginning, was I was in complete. So when we're confronted with an adversity or a challenge, we go into denial. It takes our attention away from the gift, maybe your gift as an artist, my gift as a creator of three-dimensional art. And I quickly was able to move to acceptance that I had this diagnosis. But one of the most important things we can do as people who have dreams and have aspirations is don't identify with your adversity. The things we fight are the demons we empower. The situations in our life that we renounce are the things that we give energy to. So when I realized it didn't do me any good to fight this disease, I was going to accept it, but I was not going to identify with it. That's why you'll notice during this whole conversation, I will not mention the words of the diagnosis I had, because I choose not to give it any energy. So the book basically goes through 9 steps, 9 chapters, 9 steps. I gave you the first 2: acceptance, disidentification. It spells out the word adversity, 9 letters, 9 chapters. And there was a time when I felt that I not only was going to die, of course, but that my gifts, my goals, my aspirations, my dreams were yanked out from my world was yanked out from underneath me. So I mean, this is kind of a metaphor, but it was almost like I was covered in Teflon. You know what Teflon? Nothing stick to me. My middle name was Midas, Oliver. Everything I touched turned to gold, until one day it was all taken away from me. What was I going to do? I've had financial adversities. I've had relational adversity. I've been married 33 years, but you can imagine there's times I'm close to, maybe not being married anymore. But when I had a health adversity that took everything, I lost all this hair that you see here. I lost 30 pounds. I was going to die. Then it put in perspective what really mattered to me. And I wasn't done yet, Oliver. I wasn't done. I'm going to die someday, I said to myself, but I'm not going to die of the disease and the diagnosis that I had nearly 3 years ago.
You saw that it's happening, but you didn't empower it, and you made the decision basically that you're not done yet.
Yes, the most important, again, there's 9 chapters, so there's a lot of important advice, but at the beginning of your fighting, your identifying of your adversity is to realize, please, even if it's an addiction, whatever it is, don't fight it, because you feed it. The amount of energy that you feed an adversity or a challenge is the amount of energy you give to it. So I chose to say, yes, I have this. I'm not going to put my head in the sand to get my ass kicked. Like, no, I have this, but I'm not going to give it any of my precious energy. I'm going to disassociate from it. I'm going to disidentify from it. That's why I would call it an intruder, an unwanted guest, but I would never give it the power of the name. And 2 years later, I was free. I was freed from the intruder. It took me about a year to write, which you would appreciate as an artist. The cover of this book is very artistic. It took me a year to write Adversitology, Overcoming Adversity. When you're hanging, I mean, look at that hand. How many people have done that, right? You're hanging on by a thread. That's exactly what I felt like I was doing, hanging on by a thread. And I came out the other side. And we won't get into all 9 chapters, but those first 2, and I'm happy to go into other ones if you'd like. But I think that relates to everybody listening or watching today. You will have in your lifetime a financial adversity, a physical adversity, a spiritual adversity, or a relational adversity, or all 4 of them, maybe at one time. How are you going to get through the other side? How can I help you get through it quicker and with less pain so that you can get back to your dream? Like, Oliver, your dream of painting, imagine this happening to you. You're flat on your back. You lose your beautiful head of hair. You lose 20 pounds. All you want is that canvas. You just want your canvas back, but you're not strong enough to lift up a paintbrush. That's what happened to me. And I went through day after day after day, knowing, adding a little bit of energy back to my soul that was taken away from me by this disease. And eventually, like, I'm an ultra marathon runner. I run races over 100 miles at a time. I was back out there doing 25-mile training runs. And you know what? On day 1, after I started to come back, it took me 33 minutes to go a half a mile. It's basically 33 minutes to go a quarter of a kilometer. Think about that. That's how slow I was. That's how weak I was. But I exercised my risk tolerance like a muscle. I made it stronger, and I was able to come back. And now I'm just grateful, that I have my health back, and I'm back to doing what I love. And I apologize for the long answer to your short question.
No, that was very inspiring. Thank you so much for sharing. I think that will help a lot of people, because, like you say, we all go through adversities, challenges, right? And then it depends, like, how are we dealing with that, right? And I love what you said about fighting, because when you fight something, you still focus on it, right? So you actually empower it. So what you basically did is like you focused, you took your focus away from it and focus on probably like what you wanted to see, like healing and getting healthy. And yeah.
Yes, exactly. It's so,
Yeah.
if you don't mind, we went from acceptance to disidentify, AD. The third letter in the word adversity is V. Violate fate. Violate fate. So when you're going through an adversity, you have very well-intentioned people surrounding you, friends, doctors, lawyers, therapists, spiritual advisors, that have your best intentions in heart. But sometimes they project a fate upon you that you do not wish for yourself.
Yeah.
Therefore, you have to take the steering wheel of life at a time when you don't want to take the steering wheel of life, when you're going through a divorce, filing for bankruptcy, in my case, almost dying of a physical adversity. You have to take that steering wheel back, violate the fate that has been projected for you by somebody else, and create your own. And that's exactly what you said. I took my focus off of the illness. I grabbed the steering wheel of my own life, although it took over 2 years to navigate that rocket ship back to where I wanted it to go. I eventually got there. And that's why I felt like, my goodness, if a guy who's covered in Teflon, whose middle name is Midas, can have the rug pulled out from under him like it was for me, I want to help other people navigate their life's adversities. Because, Oliver, when we do, we can get back to doing what we love. And why wait? It's like, I take what I call the blue sky theory. So in other words, you're the blue sky, Oliver's the blue sky, and what passes underneath you are beautiful, fluffy, nice clouds, which are wonderful occurrences in life, and maybe the dark, stormy clouds in life. But eventually, everything passes. The clouds pass. You are the blue sky. You're permanent. And so once I adopted that blue sky theory, it took a while for my dark cloud to pass, and I did something proactive to help it pass. I was able to get back to the right brain, left brain activity that is my artistry, just toggling back and forth between right brain and left brain, because my brain was no longer preoccupied with getting better, with getting my health back.
Wow, very powerful. Yeah, that is giving for sure a lot of people courage. That adversity doesn't mean it's over, but it just means also maybe for you to get stronger, right? And maybe get back to your power, because we all have this power, as you said, right?
We do. And I'm going to encourage you, if you happen to read the book, that there is a way to terminate your own adversity instead of allowing time to terminate it just with the passage of time. Most people, if you look back at your life, you look back at the adversities you've had in your life, most of them you don't even think about anymore because time has passed. But think about the hurt and the pain and the agony you went through during that adversity. What if you could get through it quicker? What if you could put it behind you quicker? And you choose the time to terminate instead of allowing time to pass and letting time dictate when it's terminating. I know that's a little philosophical, but the whole goal is to get you, Oliver, back to the canvas quicker and with less pain as you're enduring an adversity. And what will happen afterwards? I mean, imagine the synapses in the brain that are going to fire when you pick up that canvas after having endured and gotten through the other end in adversity.
You're a stronger person, right? You experienced that, and now you came back even stronger, and you probably appreciate everything also much, much more.
It's the difference between let's say this was a soda can, and when you open a soda can that's carbonated, you hear the release, the explosion of creativity. It's the difference between opening a carbonated can and a non-carbonated can. When you open a non-carbonated can, nothing happens. But when you open a carbonated can after you've gotten through an adversity, using that as a metaphor, the explosion of light and color and sound, and like, I am back and I'm ready to get back to what I do for a living. I wouldn't have that sensation. It would be opening like a can of non-carbonated soda if I hadn't gone through that adversity.
Yeah, powerful. That reminds me on like, that's how life goes, right? It's like the clouds. They're like, nice clouds and then darker ones. So it's also with the emotions the same, right? If we wouldn't feel sadness, we couldn't feel joy. So it's like part of life, right? But we also choose what we empower. So yeah, amazing. We could go probably for an hour into this conversation, but should we talk about your dreams, or you want to add something more to your challenges?
No, no, no. I don't focus on my challenges. I want to move everybody past them quicker. That's why I
Yeah.
wrote this book.
Mm-hmm.
And again, just the title, adversitology, it's like biology or theology or any study of, ology is the study of. I had an in-depth study of adversity.
Mm-hmm.
And so the whole idea is not to ponder on it, is to get back to the dreams. Like to me, now that we're talking about dreams are something that we have while we're asleep.
Mm-hmm.
Most people have these dreams while they're asleep, but they never bring them to life. They never bring them to reality. Let me tell you something. I'm unimpressed with dreamers, because if somebody asks me and says, "Hey Frank, do you have a minute for go have coffee? I want to talk about my dream."
Mm-hmm.
My first answer will be, "Tell me one of the dreams that you've made come true. Tell me one dream." Because, like, as an artist, you'll appreciate this. You can be the most talented artist in the world, but you do not want to be a starving artist.
Yeah.
You are in the business, unless you're financially independent, you are in the business to make money by selling your art. People would walk in my houses and say, "Oh my God, how could you ever sell this house? It's the most beautiful." Like, we would import lava from France and make countertops out of them. And there was one countertop I made out of sea glass. We melted down thousands and thousands of pounds of sea glass that we found on the beaches and made kitchen countertops with them. People say, "Wow, how could you ever sell this?" Well, I don't want to be a starving artist. I'm in the business to sell these products. So as a dreamer, I'm not a dreamer. I don't think I'm a dreamer. I make my dreams come true. Like, my dreams violently wake me at night in color, and I bring them to reality. I don't just sit there looking at the sky and thinking, "Wouldn't it be nice to build a house and have lava kitchen countertops?" No, I bring those things to life. So as we all have dreams. I'm not knocking you, having your dreams, but what's the point if you're not going to bring them to reality? Like, unless you're financially independent, you're a poet or something, and you just kind of want to go off on a tangent and just free associate. I've seen your art. You've sold your art for a lot of money. That, to me, validates the fact that you are an artist. If not, you're just a doodler drawing on a piece of canvas and putting it in your closet. Like, to me, I want people to understand that dreams are not reactive. They are proactive. Meaning, you have them and you take a proactive position to implement them day by day. So what does that mean? What does that mean, Oliver? This is very important. So many artists are gifted with a right brain talent, meaning they're extremely creative. The right brain is where all the creativity and the ingenuity resides. And then the left brain is where the statistical, the analytical, the business side resides. Most people are made to believe that they are either right brain or left brain dominant. That, I'm only saying one curse word this whole time of your program. That is bullshit. Nobody is born right brain or left brain dominant. Believe it or not, I was born left brain dominant. My dad was a banker. My grandfather was a banker. So I was very statistical and analytical. I had not a creative bone in my body until I said, "I want to be creative." It took me 10 years to awaken the synapses in the right side of my brain, so that now I can toggle back and forth between right brain and left brain in nanoseconds. What does that allow me to do? It allows me to bring dreams that are born in the right brain to reality and monetize them that reside in the left brain.
Yeah, powerful things. Like, I resonated a lot with what you said with I mean, first of all, I think I was always right brain, right? So creative, but I needed to learn the other part as well, because otherwise I was just the starving artist painting, but I didn't know how to sell, how to talk to customers. And yeah, and then I agree with you 100%. I think it's so important that you have your goals, you have your vision, but then you also have to take action, but you have to actually make them a reality. And I see that so many times, like people that I'm talking to, like I'm also coaching now some artists, And most of them, it's very simple. Like they could do it too, because their art is great. I mean, I see it, and I really like it. I can see people buying it, but they are just not, taking the action. They're not doing the things that are uncomfortable, like talking to people or whatever they have to do, right? So it's really there where people get stuck. It's like, yeah. So
if you have, listen, I'm not saying that you have to monetize every dream that you have, but I am saying that if God has put something on your heart by way of a dream, you have to be proactive to bring it to the masses, or not even the masses, just to bring it out. This is a gift you've been given. Like, you have been given a gift. And the way you are expressing your gift upon that canvas, I think it's incumbent upon you. It's a responsibility of yours to share the gift you've been given with the public.
Exactly.
And there's many people who will disagree with that. And if you want to paint and just put it up on your wall and enjoy it yourself, I'm not knocking that. I'm saying that's fine. But don't complain about it. Don't complain that nobody's buying your paintings, or that you can't put food on the table, because all you're doing is painting and putting it on the wall. If every house I lived in, Oliver, I would never make any money. I would just I'd have a bunch of houses, but I would never sell them. I'm not attached to any of my art. No emotional attachment once it's been created. Now, once the art is while the creative process is going, I'm extremely attached. But I immediately detach myself when I'm done with a house, because to me, the true validation is when somebody comes in and appreciates your art, right? Like when somebody buys your art, that's when you're truly designated an artist. So I feel no attachment whatsoever. I'm very happy and pleased to part with my artistry so someone else can enjoy it.
Yeah, exactly. For me, some people also ask me, like, aren't you sad when you sell a painting? And I'm like, no, because my job, my gift is to create. It's not to create, and then store my art and hang them in my apartment. It's like, then it doesn't really make sense, because what I really want to do is create. And so for me, it's the best thing ever if somebody buys a painting. That's what really fulfills me, because that's also the flow, the circle. Like, you create, right? You use your gift, and then somebody buys it who appreciates it, so somebody can enjoy what you created. And without that, it somehow, for me, it doesn't make much sense. So I'm happy when somebody buys them. Yeah, that's why I'm creating also. So yeah.
Good to hear. I'm glad to hear that.
And I wanted to ask you, so yeah, you achieved so many things already in your life, but you still have like a vision, like the next vision for your life, the future, so like where you're going to?
I savor everything, and it's actually a chapter in my new book. It's the S chapter in the word adversity. I savor everything and cling to nothing. Meaning, I'm very happy and content with what I have done. I'm much older than the both of you. I've gotten away from the chase, meaning there's always got to be something better, and I'm often happy and seldom satisfied. Like, I want to be always happy and always satisfied. So, when I first got into the real estate artistry, it wasn't building multi-million-dollar mansions, Oliver. It was building crack houses. It was renovating $50,000 houses in the United States that were in really, like, crack is in crack cocaine, like really bad neighborhoods, turning those and, buying them for $20,000, putting $10,000 into it and selling it for 50,000 US dollars. I did that for 5 years before I did my first multi-million-dollar house. So I was very content doing $50,000, $100,000 crack houses. I loved it. It was just an evolution that turned into a revolution. And that's really how life goes. Like, you evolve to the point where you say, I don't need to reform, I need to revolt. Like, there's a big difference between reforming and revolt. And I was pleased with doing, hundreds of little houses, but my soul then said, I'm gonna revolt, have that revolution against complacency, right? Against I'm comfortable, and then I jumped from $100,000 house to a $2 million house. There was nothing in between, and that just came organically. So for me, I don't have like I don't have 5-year plans. You can't comprehend what you could do in 5 years. Your brain cannot comprehend what it can do in 5 years. I suggest you set plans and goals no further than 1 year out. Meet those, because I found it once. I used to set 3 and 5 year goals. I was limiting myself, Oliver. I couldn't comprehend that I could go from a $100,000 house to a $2 million house, then 5, then 10. The biggest one I ever did was $50 million. One house, 50 million US dollars. If I had set that as a 10-year plan, I couldn't even have fathomed it. I would even never set that as a goal. It would have just seemed so outlandish, outrageous. So I encourage people to live in the moment, savor everything, cling to nothing. You'll know when it's time to revolt instead of reform, that the evolution of your life and your career as an artist will then turn into a revolution. It's time to go to a next level. But it's not forced, and it's not anything that's even almost written down. It's just a very organic process.
Yeah. And so you're basically also always in the flow of you are doing what's in front of you. You're in the moment, you're giving your best, and it's then evolving naturally.
And always wanting to, just like you, I always want to create something that hasn't been created before. So every house that we've done, especially the higher end houses that we've done, all of those plans, once they're built, are destroyed. I do not recreate anything. Like, I want to start, if I was a sculptor, I would take the clay and crush it and start from scratch. Like that's how you evolve in the business of life. Everybody's an artist, really, truly, if you apply the art and artist approach to your life or your craft. And so, yeah, it's unlimited. It's unlimited what you can do. So why set limiting goals, especially long-term ones? But if you're there to create, like, I want my buyers. Let me rephrase this. I know what my buyers want. My ultra high-end buyers want before they know they want it. That's evolving. So what a person might appreciate in a painting before they even know that they're going to appreciate it. That's the kind of approach to take to your craft.
It's basically what I'm doing too, especially because it's abstract. People cannot even see it, and sometimes me neither. I don't even see it, but then I start creating, and then I show them the painting, and then it's often like, wow, it was very different than I expected, but I love it, and I can see the patterns, and connect the dots and what fits to them, what connects to their life. So it's very interesting that you're saying that. Yeah.
When you're an artist like yourself, I mean, it is a blessing, and it's also a curse, because sometimes you have so much going on in your head. If you're a type of person like the dreams and color, it can be a struggle to turn it off sometime. And that still, to me, is something I struggle with. Like, how do you turn off? That's why I moved to North Carolina. It's a little bit slower pace for me. I was in Florida for 40 years. And you do need to take that break and step back from the canvas of life from time to time, so that you can recharge. The golden goose isn't going to get the egg unless you take care of the goose, right? I mean, the goose is not going to lay the golden egg unless you take care of the goose. So, that's something an artist, I think, or somebody who's very aspirational will struggle with, is they're always striving to better their previous best. And that can get kind of tiring.
Yeah, I see that too. Yeah. But I'm curious now, like you said, you don't have the long-term goals really, but do you have any short-term goals that you're working towards?
I do. So the reason I'm talking to you from North Carolina is I'm going to use a couple metaphors in this description or this answer. I'm in a place in the United States that has been, in real estate, you look for the three uns, UN. So you look for undiscovered, undervalued, unappreciated markets. Undiscovered markets, undervalued markets, and underappreciated markets. I did that in South Florida for 30 years on the ocean front. I put that Palm Beach County oceanfront on the map. There's nothing more for me to do there. Well, let me rephrase that. If I were to stay there, my margins would be so compressed, because there's so many people that have gotten in the game, that I'm putting a $20 million house on the market, and I'm hoping to make $2 million. I'm hoping that's not enough margin for me, because what if the market turns against me? What if a recession comes? I will then be filing for bankruptcy. There's not enough margin for me. So I wanted to colonize another moon. Big metaphor. I wanted to colonize another moon. I colonized the moon in South Florida with what we did on the ocean front that was not established 30 years ago, 20 years ago, 10 years ago. I found a location that is very risky. I mean, my house that I'm talking to you from is 3 acres on a river. I paid $30,000 for the land. $30,000 for the land on 3 acres on a river. In Florida, for 1 foot on the ocean, you're paying $200,000. That means to build on a 100-foot lot, which is a typical lot on the ocean, 100 feet, you're paying $20 million just to buy the sand. There's no way that moon's been colonized for me. So for me to take my suitcase, pack up, sell my stuff, leave most of my life in Florida behind. I go back and forth, but I'm here now, and want to colonize another moon. That is what I call taking a moonshot in life. And everybody in their life should, at one point or another, take a moonshot. Take a moonshot in your career. Take a moonshot with your relationships. Ask that woman or that man to marry you. Take a moonshot with your spiritual life. Those are the big risks that might take years to pay off. But I have put the comfort behind me, and now I am in this market that is undiscovered, undervalued, and undervalued, unappreciated. That is the mark of someone who wants to make a market. I don't even know if I'll be here long enough on this earth, because it'll take a decade or so to make this market. But that's the kind of thing, like, you think about colonizing the moon, you think about getting on a spaceship and landing on Mars and colonize. Well, I probably won't be around to do that, but where can I go to do the same thing on this planet? And I have found in the real estate market, in the real estate business, I have found a place to do that.
Okay, that's very powerful as well. It's like you're really, thinking big, and you don't go where everybody else goes, because that's what happens now, right? In California, people are going there now. So you're going to a different place where it's still like undiscovered, right? The three.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
In real estate, very quickly, at least in the United States, you hear the saying location, location, location. And that basically says, you got to go with the location. I don't buy that. I've never subscribed to location, location, location. It's just, you don't make money by following where everybody else is going. That's why in South Florida, when we did these oceanfront houses in Delray Beach, in Ocean Ridge, in Manalapan, these were undiscovered. This wasn't Palm Beach, Oliver. This wasn't Boca Raton. These were undiscovered coastal communities within the very close proximity of Palm Beach and Boca Raton, but they still didn't have the panache and the cachet of those names. So yes, I went where nobody else was willing to go. That's the same thing that I'm doing here, even at this later stage of my life. And I find it makes me feel alive.
I love it. Yeah. It's like you always see where you're going, right? You never stop. It's like always, even as you said, you don't even know if you're long enough here, but you still, see that, and you're going towards it.
Right. That's right. Absolutely right.
Cool. And now I have another question. What makes you most proud of in your life? Like what you achieved, what you did or experienced? What are you most proud of?
So in my last book titled Aspire, there's a chapter 2 asks the question. There's 25 chapters in that book. There's only 2 that are posed in the form of a question. What legacy do you aspire to leave behind? What legacy do you aspire to leave behind? And for years, I thought it would be these beautiful, and you can go to my website, frank-mckinney.com. PC Magazine is called a Disney on a desktop, because you can take tours of these mansions, and it's you'll see what I'm talking about, what we've created. I thought that was going to be my legacy. Those buildings will be rubble in 20 years. Not because I built them poorly, but because they've been, the ground underneath them, the sand, has rendered them physically, functionally and economically obsolete. So they'll be torn down and new houses will be built there. My legacy will not be the bombast of our grand unveilings, which is a very theatrical way we present our houses to the market, jumping a motorcycle over a house or rappelling out of a helicopter, you name it, I've done it. My legacy and what I hate to use the word proud, what I think will stand the test of time when I'm gone is the self-sustaining villages that we've built in Haiti. So we have a charity called the Caring House Project Foundation that builds self-sufficient, self-sustaining villages in Haiti. We've built 30 villages in the last 20 years in the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere. And again, this isn't building villages to make money. We build these villages so that the poorest people in the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere can have a self-sustaining existence. I have housed or provided a self-sustaining existence for 13,600 kids. That's my legacy. Why is that my legacy? It's because those kids and their kids and then their kids and on and down will have a better life because of the self-sustaining villages that we built in Haiti. And when somebody buys a copy of my book or any of my books, my new book, Adversitology, that money goes to provide about 100 meals in one of our orphanages. I make no money from the sale of my books. So I made all my money in real estate. So that, I think everybody should look to leave a legacy. And when your legacy really will involve what you did for others or how you made others feel, not what you did for yourself. Your legacy will never be based upon what you did for yourself. It will be, Oliver, if you were gone tomorrow, your paintings, as I look at them on the wall, they make me feel joy and they make me forget my problems and they make me feel happy. Like, that's your legacy. And that's the thing you will be proud of, is you will have left behind a little scar on the world, but that scar in a good sense, like the world's a better place, especially the children in Haiti are living a better life because of our Caring House Project Foundation.
Wow, I love that, yeah. Especially what you said, your legacy is not what you do for yourself or what you did for yourself, but what you did for others or how you made them feel. That's really a great summary of what a legacy really is about. And it's beautiful. Thank you for sharing.
Welcome.
Now, so when you think about your legacy, I would say let's focus on that. If you focus on or you think about your legacy, how does it make you feel if you think about how much bigger you can make that and will do before you leave? How does this make you feel?
So I'm maybe a little bit more advanced in my sentiment with regards to answering this question. I don't feel good. I don't feel better or worse. Okay. I feel I am fulfilling my spiritual highest calling. The gift that God gave me to create these villages in Haiti. I'm grateful that I've recognized, I'm enlightened enough to recognize that gift has been given to me and that I'm sharing it with those less fortunate. So I don't feel better or worse, to be honest with you. I feel I'm being a responsible steward for the blessings God's given me. And if there's a warmth in my heart because I'm being a responsible steward for the gifts God's been giving me, then I guess that makes me feel good. But the minute you undertake something for a feeling, the purity of that undertaking is lost because you're trading the feeling for the gift. You're actually trading feeling good. I'm going to build villages because I want to feel good about myself. I don't want to feel bad about myself. No, you're not. The altruism is lost there. The purity of the intent is lost there. So I don't do any of this for any kind of feeling whatsoever. I want to be a responsible steward for the gifts God's given me, either professional gifts in the oceanfront houses or the books, or my spiritual gifts, which are building these self-sustaining villages. Then I'm able to feel warmth in my heart because I've been a responsible steward for those blessings.
Beautiful. Yeah. I love it. And would you say that this legacy and what you're doing in the world is worth living for?
Sure. I'm so grateful that I'm alive because 2 years ago I almost wasn't. And Walter, when comes back in. I can't wait for him to read the book because, you know, all of the time that Walter was helping me promote my prior book, Aspire, I was very sick, Walter. And a lot of the interviews we did, you know, I was wearing a wig. You wouldn't have not had people come in and put makeup on me so I wouldn't look so sickly. And so is my legacy worth living for? Now that I saw the other side of death and I know what it was like, you better believe it. You know, I'm not done. Whatever it is, if it's going to be more houses here in this new moon we're colonizing and along the Pigeon River in Canton, North Carolina, or like I'm getting right after, I don't know when this is going to come out, but on March 12th, I leave for a 25 city book tour to spread the message of adversitology across the country. Because I want people to get through their adversities quicker and with less pain, Oliver, so we can get back to our gifts, you know, our dreams. Yeah. But we're not going to get there until we get past adversities when they present themselves to us.
Yeah, well said. So true. And you're good proof for that. You did it, and now you're back. Yeah.
Thank you.
That's kind of a thought experiment. So it's kind of, but you're already writing books, so maybe that's easy for you. But let's say you want to write another book, but this book is more based on your story, and it basically a story about the life you lived and the legacy you left behind, and to inspire other people. Like, and now you're looking for a title. What kind of title would you give this specific book?
Well, the last two books I read is really the answer. I mean, Aspire was my prior book. How to create your own reality and alter your DNA. That's the subtitle. So Aspire, how to create your own reality and alter your DNA. And then, of course, well, we can't meet our aspirations when we have adversity. So that's why I wrote Adversitology. So I can help you get through those so you can get to your aspirations. I don't need another title. I've got them. Like, if I die tomorrow, I've got enough left behind for my daughter and her kids, for Walter and his grandkids, and Oliver for your generations. That's plenty. I'm not looking for any more. I don't need to say any more.
Let's think about everything we talked about, especially your legacy, I would say. If you think about it, do you see any, and that would be the part where I would make a painting. I already have some thoughts, some things that came to my mind, things that you said. But yeah, when you think about it, do you see any colors that come up?
Oh, yeah. If I had your gift, what I would see, like some of the metaphors I use, I would see this. I would see the opening of the soda can. I would see these colors coming out. I would see the right brain and the left brain firing, you know, in nanoseconds. You might see either my image, my face, or just a silhouette. You know, this vivid colors. If you look at the covers of all of my books, here's Aspire. Look at the colors. Look at the artistry. And look at the artistry. I'm a very colorful person, but again, it's not about me. It's about you making a painting that when people look at it, they can see the synapses firing in their brains. They can see the right brain and the left brain talking to each other. They can see that they want to live a life that has carbonated soda can exploding instead of non-carbonated soda can. That's, if I could be an artist, that's what I would do. And I just, even in the background above Walter's head, I can see a painting that looks kind of has the colors, like, and above your head, Oliver, to the right of your head, there's colors there, bright, vibrant, even almost glitter in that color. You know, just so when the sunlight hits it, or somebody has a light and they're sitting, it hits it. It's the synapses, it's the carbonation that's just exploding. That's the potential everybody has. And that's what I would love to have just shoot out of my mind and my head to every listener, every viewer, or every person that appreciates the painting you're going to make.
Yeah, okay, I can see. So it's very it's very colorful, right? There are like many colors. There is like lots of energy in there, and kind of this explosion and also these two sides, like left brain, right brain. So it maybe has like two sides that, but that like still one, and then there's one explosion.
Yeah. It would almost be like if the brain was the volcano, you know, that the explosion wouldn't just be the lava that's colored in, you know, the red or the oranges. It's the colors of all the colors of the rainbow. Like, people ask me, why do you color your hair purple, or, you know, pink, or what, you know, black or gray, or whatever you decide to color it. in the well, it's not just in the United States. In the world, there's a Crayola. You know the Crayola crayon box. You know what Crayola crayons are?
Not sure. Maybe in
So
German.
you know what a crayon is, right? A crayon is like something a kid would use to.
Oh, yeah, yeah, okay, yeah.
Crayon. So if you look up the Crayola crayon box, Crayola has 128 colors in the box. Every crayon, 100. And I wasn't a kid. You could buy a box of 8. You could buy a box of 16. You could buy a box of 32. I remember when I was 7, I bought a box of 128, or I had my mom buy it because I believe that we should all live a life expressive of colors. Whether or not you wear a black and white suit, that doesn't matter. You wear a white shirt with a black tie and a black suit, doesn't matter. The colorful life that you live, and I don't mean bombastic, I mean just living your true purpose should represent that volcano, exploding these beautiful Crayola crayon boxes of color. Because that's what I say. God gave us all these colors. Let's use them all. And when Walter's listening, Walter follows me on Instagram. I think about a month or so ago, I wrote a post about it, about the color. I even put a picture of the Crayola box on that post and explained why life should be lived in color.
But yeah, I can see it. So it's I think it would be exactly what I would do, like kind of these splashes, which are in like basically all colors. It's just like very colorful. So there's no primary color. It's really like just like all colors. It's like, and then they explode. So I do see something in my mind. So yeah, I can see. And then what comes out of it, I guess, will flow through me. I always go the canvas, I have the ideas, the inspiration, and then I start painting and see what comes out of me. Yeah, I think that's
it's a good gift. Listen, I envy you because that gift that you have. I have a friend, a female friend who's extremely successful artist, and she came from Russia. She had nothing, and she did a portrait of me before she was anybody. And now she's extremely successful, sells her paintings for tens of thousands of dollars. I think my portrait's worth a lot of money that she did. And I always admired like what you and her name is Albina Zarina. You should follow her on Instagram. The gift that you have, because I like abstracts. I'm not really like I like all art. Like I'll go to art museum, but abstracts to me, like that comes right through you. That's a gift you have that you can put on a canvas. I can't do that. Walter can't do that. But you can. But just to show how eager I was to, become an artist. Like I tried painting, and my painting that I wanted to do was going to be the material was going to be limited to all the bodily fluids that the body creates. So if you think about doing a painting with all the bodily fluids that the body creates, and having that be called DNA amplified. So DNA would be amplified, DNA amplified. So it's all my DNA on the painting. And then, yes, every single fluid that the body makes, I was going to put it in like your little palette. I still think that maybe someday I would try to do that. But that's just the creativity that says, man, like everybody's DNA is special. Let's amplify it. I wish I could put that on a canvas. It would be pretty gross to some people because you're using urine and feces and semen, and you're using tears, and you're using snot, you're using saliva, you're using blood. I mean, creating a painting from that. But think of that hanging on a wall. If you were in a museum, they'd be revolted, or they'd be intrigued. They'd be like, oh my God, like that whole painting is somebody's DNA.
Yeah.
Anyway, that if I had the ability, I even experimented with one where I did draw my blood and I did use some urine. And I tried to create the 4 cycles of a heartbreak through pain and then blood and the heart. And anyway, it didn't look anything like yours, but I admire people like you who have a gift like you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, but your creativity is like this was what you just said was like, wow, that's such a great idea actually. And it would make people feel something. And I think that's what art it's really like making people.
I mean, like you've been to a museum where I even saw the painting having some 3-dimensional element to it, where like the blood was in a beaker that you would find in a mad scientist, like a scientist's lab, and the blood would be boiling, through the little glass, thing going up, and it'd be touching the other parts of the painting.
Wow.
I still want to do that someday, but I don't know. I have no idea how I would do it, and make like I don't have the gift to do it, but just to have every single bodily fluid create this DNA painting would be anyway. That's me going on a tangent. I won't. I don't have the ability to do that, but that's something I really want to do. Are we
Yeah.
ready to bring Walter back in?
Yes.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
very much. Appreciate that you welcome me back at the end of this great conversation. That for the listeners and viewers here, there is so much value in it. It's incredible to me all the time. Always when I talk with Frank, it's always the same. I feel afterwards absolutely inspired again. And thank you very much for both of you taking that time to bringing such a content. I just enjoyed how you created value in different ways, and that's what I like most on such kinds of interviews, and bring together great thoughts and also ideas and creations. Okay, here we are done with this interview, and I hope you have made a lot of experiences by listening, by viewing, and by getting inspired and aspired. However, I want to repeat it again for you personally, that you make sure check out the website from Frank McKinney and the website of Oliver Hoyas, because you get out there a lot of great ideas, and eventually you find something that attracts you so much that you want to have it, because it's worth to live eventually in an art, or to have an art for your wall. By saying that, I'll thank you for listening, and I want to wish you, and I will wish you now, a great and an awesome time, and a lot of health, and a great future.